It's campaign season in Brooklyn. Tried and true methods, brand new candidates.
I meet people on the street and I'm like, oh, do you want to register to vote? They're like, I don't do politics.
If she wins, she won't even earn a salary. And he's fighting for the right to face a powerful incumbent.
Can I count on your support for September 13th?
Can these rookies win the first time out?
Oh, like that.
You want to taste some old school political power?
This one is mine.
Welcome to the club. It's run by Frank Seddio, the Democratic chairman of Kings County.
You come around like this time of the year, what are you doing right now? You're collecting signatures for candidates.
But the new Kings Democrats are working hard to usurp the throne.
Whoever wins this fight between the progressives and Frank Seddio can kind of control things.
In this blue borough, where do you find a Trump supporter? Try the ultra-Orthodox Jewish community.
I think as a religious Jew, you have to be grateful for the fact that it even is looking our way, because we've been ignored for a really long time.
And they're willing to put up with some not-so-religious behavior. This week, from the ground game to the primary night returns, our politics is all local. And in conclusion, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you, because there is nothing to fear but a chicken in every pot. Do we or don't we want a future to believe in? Read my lips. I'm just wild about keeping hope alive in the kinder, gentler, unbossed and unbought nation. Si se puede, and country first. Because when they go low, vote for Pedro. Taken together, it's all a bunch of gobbledygook. But the words offered by those who aspire to our nation's highest office are meant to inspire. So what does it really mean to make America great again or be with her? How many times have inspiring words stoked the flames of divisiveness, or alternately, turned out to be plain old empty promises? I get the feels just like anyone else who listens to an inspiring oratory that gives us a glimpse of America living up to its full potential. That ideal we keep marching towards, knowing we will continually fall short of the glory. But don't stop thinking about tomorrow just yet. There are thousands of dedicated people across the nation ready to stand and deliver on the promise of creating a more perfect union. And we happen to have met some of them for this episode. And whether stepping into elected office at the most hyper-local level or wearing the crown of a kingmaker, it's all Brooklyn as we go in on politics.
When Mexico sends its people, they're not sending their best. They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists. And frankly, I'm the most solid person up here. I built a tremendous company, and all I want to do is make America great again. Donald J. Trump is calling for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States.
Donald Trump will be the 45th president of the United States.
If Trump was Jewish, we'd be like, oh no, we can't say these things, but he's not Jewish. So we don't expect from him what we expect from our community. I think people found him very relatable because he wasn't trying to hide anything. He was just like this regular guy. In some ways he helped us, because if we would keep moving with political correctness, eventually free speech would be gone. And because of him, free speech is protected in some ways.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Just Enough Heshy show, and we have me and my beautiful Esther.
I think he's an okay person. I've heard that he kind of messed people up over different deals in the past and he was crooked, but I don't know if anybody can say they've always been straight.
We all thought that Trump maybe was a little bit nuts. But the reason why we're not scared of Trump is if you see the way he talks like one of us. He's a regular guy, like me. We're not politicians. We need somebody who's not only a businessman, but who knows how to talk to the people.
Not all Jews support him. There's a mix. But I find that a lot of Jews do support him because he reflects our values, not in what he says, but what he does.
It's always tricky when you talk about Trump. I did not vote for him, and unless his opponent is a terrible person, I will not vote for him again. I don't think anybody's blind to his flaws, to say the least. I detest him as a person. I pray for his impeachment, and yet, so often I find myself so pleased with some of the results of his politicking. Trump does not reflect our values at all, and yet the way it seems to many of us is that he's willing to go to bat for our values.
I am taking to the streets of Brooklyn to see, can these inhabitants answer some very simple questions? So how much about Israel would you say you know?
When you hop and skip around an Orthodox Jewish neighborhood, I'm here today and take many pictures with a transgender who is doing a tremendous Avera.
Avera? How?
You don't know what Avera is? You see, respectfully, I want to talk nicely, but you're a total Torah ignoramus.
Anything in the Torah that spews hate is not the Yetzer Tov.
But he's not spewing hate.
If you judge someone, you have a right to judge. God has a right to judge.
No,
we don't have a right.
Judge anybody.
Even if you have an issue with, some of the things that she does.
Flatbush Girl.
Yeah, sometimes it's at least better to have somebody that's Jewish, that's from that, it cares more about the community, even though you might have other slighter issues. In the bigger picture, sometimes that's more important, and that's kind of the same thing that we're going to talk about later with Trump. Look at the alternative.
Rabbi Levin, do you like Trump or don't like Trump?
Mixed bag, he's much better than anybody else around.
So you're this man who cheats on his wife.
Yeah, he acts brash and loud, and
Right.
you're him, you support.
Can I answer you?
Okay.
It's very simple. Listen to me. If Flatbush Mama wasn't a religious Jew, I couldn't care less if she's representing me and you.
This is my point. I didn't like Obama as president. I'm going to tell you right now.
But you loved him.
I liked him because he promised in the beginning to do change. He was young, he was energetic, and at the end he didn't come through with all the things that he promised. But he had one good line that I use. To serve your country is not to serve in the military, it's to serve your fellow man. I want to give back to my community that has helped me raise my children, that has allowed me to live here in peace and has helped me. Come. This is a picture that we found only a couple of years ago. My father in the background with all his family, 10 of them, a couple of nieces and nephews. They were all killed out in the war. And he came alone to America. Now I have 100 nephews and nieces. I wish he would have been alive to see. We had a Holocaust that wiped out almost everybody in this neighborhood. Had an uncle, a father, a grandfather, families wiped out and killed. We needed a place to go. Borough Park can only fit so many people. They ended up in Israel.
It really comes down to one word, and that's Israel. The safety and security of Israel is a very important topic, and we could forgive and overlook a lot of other things. That's the most important thing for most of us.
But you also had people that were very fine people on both sides. You had people in that group, excuse me, I saw the same pictures as you did.
No, Trump is not preaching anti-Semitism. What do you want him to say? That nobody caused trouble, there was a demonstration. Both people started fighting.
I don't think he's a racist or an anti-Semite. I don't think he's committed to any idea, positive or negative, unless it lines his pockets. That's my personal view. I think he absolutely has said and done things that have empowered and emboldened anti-Semites. This nationalistic, nativistic, populist kind of approach almost always goes hand in hand with anti-Semitism.
I am the least anti-Semitic person that you've ever seen in your entire life.
You're saying that Trump supposedly supports the KKK, so that would be against us, so we should be like, oh, Trump's not on our side. How could Trump be anti-Semitic? I mean, his daughter married a Jew. I think part of being a Jew was learning to be grateful. If Trump would have just freed Rabashkin, that would have been enough. If he would have moved the embassy to Jerusalem, it would have been enough. And like, he's done so much above that. His actions speak louder than his words. So let him say whatever he wants. If we're gonna be protected and he's gonna like care about what we think and what we want, I think as a religious Jew, you have to be grateful for the fact that he even is looking our way, because we've been ignored for a really long time.
While some Brooklynites grapple with their conflicting opinions of the president, others have been spurred to action, from protesting in the streets to throwing their hats into the ring for the very first time.
Good morning. It's the crack of dawn, and I'm on my way to the poll site.
We're here at the Civic Center, and my amazing mother is helping out.
If you have not yet gone out to vote, I'm really appealing to you right now. If you live in the 45th district, if you live in my neighborhood, please go out to Edward R. Murrow.
This is really the last hour. This is the final hour on the battlefield. I just want to thank you so much for your support, really.
I gotta pick one guy up.
Yeah, it's just peep the polls. Nice, huge.
What? Are there right now? Or are you Stop. I just said give yourself some breathing time.
So 45.73% of the votes are in. Yes.
1458. Wow. If someone would have told me a few months ago that I'd be adding an additional project to my plate, like running for district leader, I wouldn't have thought that time existed. But you know, there's really always more time in the day. You just sleep less. My name is Adina. I'm running for district leader. If you could put this on your fridge, if you happen to go out and vote on the 13th, 2 days after Rosh Hashanah, please check off my name on the ballot. Okay. Thank you so much. I didn't need to. You know, people are very, like, I meet people on the street and I'm like, oh, do you want to register to vote? They're like, I don't do politics. And I laugh because I would have said the same exact thing just a couple of months ago.
Hi, Stephanie. This is Ross Barkan, the Democratic candidate for state senate in your neighborhood. Wanted to reach out and thank you so much for speaking to one of our volunteers. We have a big election coming up next Thursday, September 13th. Thanks. Have a nice day. We're calling undecided voters right now. We have roughly, I think, at least 300 in our system. It's my mom.
Look at that. These need to be sealed too or not while we're at it?
I hope to see you soon. Thanks a lot. Have a good day. Bye-bye. All right. Put them in the likely. I'm getting them. I'm knocking them down.
There are a number of candidates running against incumbents or running for their party nomination who are organizing both on the ground and digitally. They're running something similar to the playbook we saw from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez in Queens and the Bronx when she unseated longtime Congressman Joe Crowley. And people hoping to capture the same type of energy, run a similar campaign that combines lots of door knocking, lots of flyering, and also the digital presence. What you can gauge by often is, does the campaign seem organized? Do they seem to have a plan? When you're looking at the campaign digitally, do they seem to have a lot of following? Are the things they're putting out on social media getting pickup? Now, that can also be a smokescreen of sorts because they have to combine that with the on-the-ground work as well.
Yeah, good. Thank you so much.
Put you up there
and I'm going to put it on my Insta story. You know who I am, right? Okay, good. I am transparent. I have the power on my phone to wave my Insta story in front of another elected official, which I have done, and said, we want to know why you, nah. And that's more powerful than one person. So when you elect me, you're not just electing me, you're electing the 40,000 followers that watch what I do and have the ability to get involved if they feel inspired to do that.
I'm asking him to answer my question. He's ignoring me. Ari, you have nothing to say? Ari, you contested 3,700 signatures and you think I have less than 500. Look at this. Oh my God.
I mean, I think the baby boomers messed it up enough. Maybe the millennials do a better
Millennials will
job.
fix it. What do you think about the fact that I ate that egg sandwich this morning at 7-Eleven with the ham on it?
If you want it, no good for the revolution, no good for politics. You have to be in tip-top shape to win.
Yeah. No, I never thought I'd run for office. I didn't imagine it. It wasn't my aspiration at all. It wasn't an ambition. Then Trump became president, and Marty Golden had no opponent in 2016, and I felt that we could do better, and I felt motivated to run.
Let's not just laugh at jokes. Let's not just do humor. Let's not just watch makeup videos. And let's see how we can use our unified voices to make sure we leave over a legacy for the next generation that's better than the one we have right now.
We're seeing more people questioning the traditional power sources. We're seeing more people question why an incumbent that they have never really heard of continues to be reelected year after year. And people questioning, why not throw my hat in the ring and see if maybe I can bring some of this energy to elected office. But incumbency is still incredibly powerful. You should not typically bet against an incumbent. We've seen incumbents win while under indictment, amid scandal, but there's undeniably more activism, more energy than we've seen in past election cycles.
So 45.73% of the votes are in. Yes. 40.15% of the votes are for Ross. Okay. And 59.25% of the votes are for Andrew Gananis.
41. We still got time. It's only 40%.
Not even half of the votes are in.
Not even half. It's all good.
Yeah, go.
Tonight is the night of my cousin's bar mitzvah. Family comes first, so while I'd love to be at the polls waiting to see the results, I'm happy to be here and celebrate with family and be amongst my community. Where are we going next? We're staying here at the party for a little longer, and then we're going home.
No.
No, I'm sorry that you're not happy. That's a lot.
He didn't even do anything.
He doesn't need to.
I don't get it.
What happened?
Simcha Felder won.
Oh, you didn't know that.
Wow.
I have a question. You know there's a list that the Sephardic community gives out of people to vote for in
Yeah.
the Sephardic community?
Yeah.
Did you get on that list?
She was on the list. I think
No, I
so.
wasn't. Well, in more in our yeshivish world, I was not on the list.
Why?
Because people don't like social
They don't
media
want wild
people.
cards.
It's like writing in Verona.
This lie.
54%.
What?
54% still the same numbers. Yeah.
So potentially we could do well there. 64 is close. 59 is...
Ross is actually closer to Andrew than he was before.
Okay.
So this is okay.
I'm shocked, but
Yeah? They have 70% of the results are in St. Paul.
For this, that's not good. Oh wow. Okay.
I'm so sorry.
That's fine. That's okay. We tried.
You tried is not the word.
That's okay.
You didn't try, Adina. You did the Herculean impossible.
Wow, she won by a lot.
She's not winning done. It's not done yet.
No, it's done.
It's
done.
71%.
No, it's not.
Where
It's
did you
not.
find
It's look,
this?
it's 30 to 69.
I have a group. I have a WhatsApp.
No, it's over. It's over. It's okay. We tried. We tried. There's nothing to do. It's okay. It's okay.
You know, it's tough. It's tough. I know this is not the night we wanted. It's not the night I wanted. We put in all these hours, and to go into something like this and not to have it go our way is hard. But I just want us to remember that we always discuss win or lose. It just wasn't about a campaign. It wasn't about a victory. We stood up to an establishment that never wanted us to win. And while the establishment won this round, that doesn't mean we all disappear. It doesn't mean we don't stop working. It doesn't mean we don't stop fighting.
So, guys, here I am being the deliverer of the news. The majority of the vote has gone to Margarita by quite a significant number, and that's that. Chaim, come. I want to thank Chaim over here for being the most supportive and amazing
That's what I'm here
husband.
for, and you're always a winner to me.
Thank you.
All of you got out there and fought, and you just can't give up the fight. You got to keep fighting and fighting for what you want.
Win or lose, for political clubs, primary elections are battles in a larger war to get their party into power. But what's the party line when political clubs are in the middle of a family feud? A political club is an organization of individuals who've joined together to influence the outcome of an election. And unlike a special interest group that might form around a single issue like universal health care or banning horse-drawn carriages, political clubs can whip up party loyalists, share financial resources and people power to push potential candidates forward, all in the service of getting their political party into office.
So are political clubs like going to go the way of the dodo?
No, political clubs are here to stay.
Really?
Yeah, political clubs are here.
Steve Witt is the editor-in-chief of Kings County Politics and has been covering the subject way before Change We Can Believe became Drain the Swamp.
So where do you think we are right now in the arc of politics in Brooklyn? From even just the Bloomberg at the beginning of his era till now, and the voices that are emerging on the political scene, and a lot of them are coming from Brooklyn.
Well, with the loss of Joe Crowley, I actually think Brooklyn can be the new boss. Whoever wins this fight between the progressives and Frank Seddio can kind of control things. I think Frank could probably know that better because he's just been in politics so long. But if the progressives win out, it could be the new King's Democrats. But I think Brooklyn's in a good position to be kingmakers now.
In the 1950s and 60s, political clubs were where local power brokers turned out votes for candidates by making sure their constituents stayed off the unemployment lines and being a direct link to the folks in the halls of power. A little advice about meeting Brooklyn's kingmaker. If you're going to Frank Seddio's Canarsie Law Office on a Friday afternoon, you should probably skip lunch because you'll smell him before you see him. More specifically, you'll smell the meatballs, sausage, and Sunday gravy he makes to serve family style to his staff and, on this day, the going-in crew.
Oh, like that? That's awesome. I've been in politics since 1965.
If you're Brooklyn's last kingmaker, how do you make a king?
I don't know why I'm a kingmaker, but I do know that it comes down to looking at what's going to be best. My first rule is what's going to be good for the borough?
Yeah.
Who's the best person? I'd like to say if I'm a political boss, that the organization I've led has done outstandingly well in choosing candidates who are great in office, who do a good job, and most of all, come from the grassroots. Political clubs have been a chance for the little guy, for the poor people, for the people who don't have any real other outlet to come and go to a place and be empowered. And that's what happens, at least in my political club. My club, Thomas Jefferson Democratic Club, was formed in 1958.
What do you think it means when people describe you as old school?
If old school is standing up for what's right, regardless of whether it's popular or not, then I'm old school.
So on the other side of that, what does it mean if you hear about a club called the New Kings Democrats and what that could represent to say, okay, we have old school and the new school? Do they call you for advice and say, you've gone down the road? What do we need to do as the New Kings?
Well, if they don't, it's their loss, and that's occurred. They haven't. Sometimes we've had discussions. I welcome everybody. I tried to explain my position about the party is that we're an all-encompassing party.
Yeah.
We're not the Republicans. We don't throw people out, and that's why I refuse to act in any way, shape, or form against Senator Felder. I'd like to call him, I'd like to call the IDC, the other Democrats. This is a party that has more than one viewpoint.
At a time when political novices are snagging headlines and winning elections, the tension between the new guard and the old school is apparent.
So the political clubs were the space of political activity in Brooklyn for many years, and now we're seeing an evolving face of that. And I think that political clubs aren't going to go away. They definitely have a place in this picture, but we're now dealing with like how people want to engage with this work and where the major players were historically. And it's hard to say what's going to happen in the future, but I think there's a space for both.
It would be overkill to call Brandon West and his clubmates Kingslayers, but the new Kings Democrats are endeavoring to be the change they want to see, and they're starting where they live.
So if you guys are endeavoring to make politics more transparent and responsive, what would you say the state of local politics is right now in Brooklyn?
There's a reason why the races, every year when there's a primary, it's like 10% of registered voters show up because people don't know what's going on. So Rep Your Block is about becoming a part of that process and having that direct contact. And right now, it's done behind closed doors in a way that people don't really know what's going on. People don't know where to plug in, people don't know what's happening, and we're trying to change that by letting people individually be a part of that process.
Thanks for going in on politics with us. We hope you'll continue to vote with your views and check out this or previous episodes of Going In at youtube.com/BRIC TV. Bye now.